Hello, my name is Nelson Marchan, and today I'm gonna be presenting my PowerPoint presentation on the advantages and disadvantages of open source software. My agenda for today is I'm gonna give you a little background, an introduction, advantages, disadvantages. I'm gonna compare open source versus a commercial software, some organizations that are using open source software, and things to consider before committing to open source software, a conclusion, references, and any questions and answer I could answer through emails or any way you'd like me to. Background. Nowadays, most companies are buying open source software to reduce their costs due to the fact that uh, most of open source software are free and just people can get it through the internet. According to Lerner and Tyrrell, in one of their articles they wrote in 2002, they said that there are unpaid volunteers who develop the open source to acquire a reputation, which means they will be rewarded in the job market. So they do this unpaid volunteering so they can be able to get a better job with other companies. In addition, there are also companies trying to get license from the source to make it related to them. An example is Blackboard and Moodle. Blackboard is a company that provides online learning tools to improve the education experience from universities to K-12 classrooms. And Moodle is an open source application used by educators to create online learning sites. Um, and Blackboard is using Moodle's deck for their Blackboard Collaborate software. As you know, Blackboard Collaborate can be used as same way Moodle is used, and Moodle would be the open source, and Blackboard would be the commercial software. So Blackboard, you can get the Blackboard Collaborate for free, but at some point you would have to pay for the extended and unlimited edition. So the way companies are doing it right now, when people think about Moodle, they would also think about Blackboard. Open source software is also known as free source software. It is distributed with its source code, and it is made easily available through free downloads from the internet. Copyright holder give the right to anyone who wants to study, change, and distribute the software. This kind of software is presented anywhere in the company industry, which means everywhere there's a commercial software, there will be an open source, such as like we have Microsoft Office, that's the commercial software, and we have OpenOffice, which is the free version of Microsoft Office, if you will. There are all kinds of operating systems, graphics, office software, web browsers, and other, like anything, pretty much anything you can think of, there's an open source software for that. Now let's talk about some .coms or some web pages that are using open source. First, we have Amazon.com, which is mainly a Linux user, and also develops its main online system with C++. In addition, uses Perl and some data integration. Now we have Yahoo, who uses FreeBSD, which is an advanced computer operating system used to power some modern servers, desktops, and embedded platforms. So, and it's also used by Apple OS and iOS. And Yahoo also uses Perl languages and MySQL for databases, which all of them are free to the public. Google, most of its servers run with Linux, and it also uses Perl and C++ for programming purposes. And we have Facebook, which mainly run with MySQL, PHP, and C++, and C languages, sorry. And now let's say why big companies are embracing open source. First, we have the cost. Nowadays, not only small companies but big companies are realizing that why bother paying thousands of dollars getting licenses for several computers when they can get the same or even better quality for a free open source software, which makes sense. Why would you want to pay, let's say, $5,000 for an Oracle software where you can just get MySQL for free? You may have some limitations, but you're still going to get even the same or better quality. And we have security. When companies are getting hacked, the first concern they have is how secure their software is. In the past, open source was discarded as being less secure, but nowadays we have like hundreds, even thousands of people contributing to develop this kind of software to make it more secure. So since we have more people working to create this software, it is fair to say that they are more secure, because they could also be, since more people are using it now, they're more likely to be hacked, so they need more people working on it to develop a safer software. Technical superiority. This does not mean that commercial software are of low quality, but when compared to open source, where you not only have hundreds of programmers working to develop, or even the users themselves fixing problems they may find, this increases the open source quality of product. Also, we have customization and audit. This is a very useful aspect of open source because it allows its user to modify the source code to satisfy their needs. For example, we have Google. As I said before, they run mainly on Linux, which Linux kernel. So they've modified the source code of Linux for their own Android operating system. Support. Usually for open source, there's unlimited support in the internet, from mailing list to actual experienced users or official staff support. Advantages of open source. As I said before, the cost will be one of them. Licenses for software are most of the time offered at no cost. Evolution. In most cases, open source has many programmers, like I said before as well. They have thousands, hundreds of people working to keep the application up to date and fixing bugs and any errors like they can find in the different application, hands-on. One of the good things about this kind of software is that many of the modifications can be done by the users themselves. That's why the source code is out there. Anybody, it's free to mess around with the code and get it to work the way they want it to. No vendors lock-in. The use of open source software allows its users not to be limited by a licensed software company, which means, they can just go out there, download their free software, modify it the way they want, and they can get support from all the different users that are out there. Development approach. Open source approach has helped create reliable and high quality software quickly at a low cost. Since open source has hundreds of programmers and users working on it, it allows to create more efficient software. Upgrade. Since the goal of open source software is to create an atmosphere where the software can be created and maintained so that the users can benefit from it, or upgrades are always going to be available. Yeah, pretty much like nowadays, it doesn't matter what kind of software you have, whether it's free or commercial, you're always gonna find upgrades for. And even if it's an open source, you're always gonna find an upgrade for that software. Reliability. The open source is reliable due to the fact that its programmers are also users of the software. So whenever they find a bug in the system, they fix it quickly. And that's even better than a commercial software, because sometimes, if you get support from a commercial company, then you're just gonna get this technological terms that you may not understand. But now if you get feedback from someone that's using the same software, they can address your issues even better. Now let's go with the disadvantages. Well, support can be an advantage and a disadvantage. Support uncertainty. One of the major risks about adopting open source is that there could be a small community working on developing this kind of software, and then the software at some point could be left behind, and then you probably won't be able to get any support. But that's a risk companies are taking due to the evolution that open source had in the past up until now. Because like I said before, there's like hundreds and thousands of people working on developing the software. So that's what the companies are taking the risk, because they know these softwares are taking over most of companies right now. Customer support. Since these softwares are free, their support is going to be offered online instead of through telephone help desk, and there may be a fee involved for the support. Well, yes, most if not all of the support that you're gonna get is gonna be through like blogs or email lists and stuff like that. But still, that's a risk people are taking because they're saving themselves a lot of money by not getting the commercial version. Future proofing. It means that future enhancement to the software core needs to be done by users' IT team strategy. Training. Given that open source can be personalized solution, in most cases, some kind of knowledge of the software is needed in order to engage new partners, so they can use the final solution to get the best out of it and meet the company's needs. So this means that companies would have to have at least somebody that knows more about the personalized solution so they can train newcomers on this software. Security. There was a misconception about open source are less susceptible for hackers, but once it was true. However, nowadays open source systems are more prevalent that become into more attractive targets. According to networkwork.com, Apple and Linux were at the top for most vulnerable operating system in 2014, and Internet Explorer as the most vulnerable app. So which means like either commercial or open source can be susceptible for hacking. And like I said, since more people and more companies are using open source, that's why it becomes a better target for hackers. But they also have more people working on this software to make it more secure. Now let's do a comparison between an open source software and a commercial software. We got OpenOffice 4.1.1 versus Microsoft Office Business 365. These are the prices as of April 14th of this year. Microsoft Office Business 365, it's $8.25 per month per license, and you can use up to 5 computers. And OpenOffice 4.11, it's $0 per license, and you can use it with as many computers as you want. Now we have, let's say, that would be for a small size company. Let's say you have 15 computers and you need either one of these software. Now, if you have 15 computers, you will have to pay $24.75 every month. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a big number, but your company needs to use this 24/7, 365 days of the year. So, I mean, this amount of money is going to keep piling out, and it's going to add up to a lot of money. And now you can still use OpenOffice 4.11 for $0 every month. And I'm going to take a break because I'm only allowed to use 15 minutes at a time. So I'll be back in another video.